In 2016, a 17-year-old German teenager flew to Malta to explore this tourist paradise. 8 days later, his body was found at the bottom of a 250-meter cliff. But when his family brought him home, they discovered something horrifying. All his vital organs, heart, lungs, brain, kidneys, had completely disappeared. His body weighed only 16 kilo. Was this a simple accident, or the most brutal crime in Malta's history? Welcome to the Case Files. I'm your host today. Today, we're going to explore together one of the most mysterious and chilling cases of the 21st century. In this episode, we're taking a deep dive into the infamous case of the Kingdom of the Dead case, the Mike Mansholt mystery, Paradise, Hiding Hell. Malta, a tiny island nation in the middle of the Mediterranean, is famous for its ancient cities, vibrant festivals, and breathtaking landscapes. With an area of just 316 kilometers, Malta attracts millions of tourists each year, thanks to its mild climate, crystal-clear blue seas, and architectural marvels from the era of the Knights of Malta. But few know that behind this captivating beauty lie chilling stories of mysterious disappearances, organized crime, and especially an ancient catacomb system called the Kingdom of the Dead. These catacombs, carved deep underground from the 4th century, contain tens of thousands of remains from ancient times, creating a dark maze with countless small niches and mysterious tunnels. Rabat, the area containing these catacombs, has witnessed quite a few tourists and archaeologists vanish mysteriously. Local residents often tell stories about strange cries emanating from underground, about dark shadows moving through the tunnels, and about people who never returned after stepping foot into the Kingdom of the Dead. And in the summer of 2016, it would become the backdrop for one of the most shocking cases in Malta's history. Mike Mansholt, the adventure-loving young man. Mike Mansholt, 17 years old, from the beautiful city of Oldenburg, Germany. He had bright blue eyes, a cheerful smile, and a friendly, sociable personality. Mike had just graduated high school with decent grades and had just started his first job at a local company. Born into a family with a tradition of loving travel, Mike was nurtured by his parents to love exploring the world from a young age. His parents, Bernd and Susan Mansholt, frequently traveled and always encouraged their son to broaden his horizons through trips. With his first paycheck, about 100 to 200 euros, Mike decided to treat himself to a special trip. After considering many destinations, he chose Malta, an island he had read about in archaeology books and had always wanted to explore. On July 8, 2016, Mike set foot at Malta International Airport with the utmost excitement. He brought along a travel backpack, a GoPro camera to record his journey, and a detailed map of the ancient sites on the island. This trip had two main purposes: to visit his girlfriend, who was taking a short-term course there, and to fulfill his dream of exploring the ancient ruins he had long yearned for. Being passionate about archaeology, Mike was particularly interested in the Rabat catacomb system, described in specialized books as one of the most mysterious kingdoms of the dead in the world. He had spent many weeks studying the history, structure, and secret passages of this catacomb system. The early days filled with happiness. The first week in Malta unfolded like a dream. Mike and his girlfriend, a German student named Sarah, together visited the ancient cities of Valletta and Mdina, toured the palaces of the Knights of Malta, and enjoyed the sunshine on beautiful beaches. He sent home radiant photos, telling his family about exciting experiences, enjoying Malta's unique cuisine, exploring museums, and especially the feeling of touching ancient stones thousands of years old. In messages sent to his mother, Mike wrote, "Malta is more wonderful than everything I ever imagined. I want to stay here longer." But all that joy would end when Mike made the fateful decision of his life. The fateful decision. On July 17th, Sarah had to return to Germany according to her original study plan. At this point, Mike faced a choice: return with his girlfriend or stay to complete the exploration plans he hadn't finished. With his adventurous nature and thirst for exploration, Mike decided to stay a few more days. He had made detailed plans for exploring areas he hadn't had time to visit the previous week, especially the Rabat catacomb system he had studied for months. On the morning of July 18th at 10 a.m., Mike left the Casa Elul Hotel, a small hotel in eastern Malta, with eager anticipation. He wore a blue t-shirt, khaki shorts, a red baseball cap, and sneakers. His plan was very clear: rent a mountain bike from a local shop, cycle to the Rabat area to explore the ancient catacomb system, and return to the hotel before 7 p.m. He brought along a GoPro camera mounted on his helmet to record the entire adventure, along with a water bottle, some snacks, and a detailed map of the area. The bike rental shop owner, Giuseppe Caruana, later recounted that Mike looked very cheerful and excited. He asked many questions about the route to Rabat and the opening hours of the catacomb areas. Giuseppe even advised Mike to hire a local guide because the catacombs were easy to get lost in, but he refused, saying he wanted to explore on his own. He said this was his first solo adventure, and he wanted to enjoy the feeling of freedom, Giuseppe recalled. I had an uneasy feeling, but he looked very confident. But could Mike have suspected that this would be his life's final journey? The disappearance and warning bells. By 7 p.m. on July 18th, the deadline for returning the bike, Mike didn't show up at the shop. Giuseppe initially thought he just wanted to use the bike a bit longer and would pay the extra fee later. But as time passed with no news, he began to worry. At 9 p.m., Giuseppe called the Casa Elul Hotel to inquire. Hotel staff said Mike hadn't returned to his room. At this point, everyone began to feel something wasn't right. That night, a small-scale search was deployed. Giuseppe and some friends drove around the entire Rabat area, calling Mike's name loudly and shining flashlights into rock crevices. They searched until 2 a.m. but found no results. On the morning of July 19th, when Mike still hadn't appeared, the hotel officially reported to local police. At this point, Malta police still considered this just a case of a tourist being too engrossed in exploring and possibly being somewhere on the island. The international search. July 22nd, the day Mike was supposed to fly back to Germany. His mother, Susan Mansholt, had arrived early at Bremen Airport to pick up her son. She brought along a bouquet of flowers and a welcome sign, eagerly waiting to see her son again after his first solo trip. But when the flight from Malta landed and passengers gradually disembarked, Mike didn't appear. Initially, Susan thought he might have missed the flight or had last-minute plan changes. But when she tried calling Mike's phone and it had been turned off for days, she began to panic. After hours of waiting and hopeless attempts to contact other flights that day, the family officially reported to the German Federal Police, BKA. An international investigation was immediately launched with close cooperation between the BKA's Special Siren Unit, specializing in cross-border missing persons cases, and Maltese authorities. In cases like this, an experienced BKA investigator explained, "We assign the highest priority. We won't focus on anything else." Mike's father, Bernd Mansholt, immediately took leave from work and flew to Malta with his elder son Daniel to directly participate in the search. They brought hundreds of flyers with Mike's photo, contact information, and rewards for anyone providing useful information. For 3 days, Bernd and Daniel turned upside down the entire Rabat area. They hired local guides, brought high-powered flashlights, ropes, and communication equipment to explore every corner of the ancient catacombs. Bernd later recounted, "I overturned every stone until dawn." Malta police also mobilized considerable forces. K-9 units, search helicopters, and divers to survey near-shore waters. They checked all hospitals, police stations, and contacted other hotels on the island. But Mike seemed to have completely vanished from the face of the earth. The horrifying discovery at Dingley Cliffs. July 26th, 8 days after Mike went missing, an anonymous call came to Malta police station reporting a body discovered at Dingley Cliffs, Malta's highest cliff at 250 meters. The call lasted only a few seconds. The caller spoke with a male voice with a slight local accent, but left no name or contact information. Dingley Cliffs, a plateau filled with bushes with orange trees, old radar systems, and the Magdalene Chapel, immediately became the scene of one of the most shocking discoveries in Malta's history. When rescue teams and police arrived at the scene, they discovered Mike's body lying on a rock ledge about 95 feet, equivalent to 30 meters, from the ground. Around the scene were television crews, journalists, and crowds of curious onlookers. Bernd and Daniel, upon receiving the news, immediately arrived at Dingley Cliffs. The sight before them caused them to collapse completely. Despite police intervention, Bernd insisted on personally verifying the body's identity. "Wait here. Let the K9 team do their job," police told him. But Bernd couldn't accept. "That's my son. I have to see him." Malta police quickly drew a preliminary conclusion. This was an accident. Mike had slipped and fallen off the cliff while cycling and exploring the area. They believed the bicycle got caught in bushes a few meters away, and Mike fell due to losing balance. But from the very first hours, the scene showed many unusual points that international forensic experts would later question. Unusual signs at the scene. The bicycle in too good condition. The bike was found hanging on a bush about 3 meters from the body. However, the bike had almost no signs of heavy impact, just a few small scratches. This was completely inconsistent with an accident from 250 meters high. Personal equipment completely disappeared. The GoPro camera that Mike always carried, equipment he treasured and used to record all activities, couldn't be found anywhere. His backpack, phone, wallet, and all other personal belongings also vanished without a trace. Shoes deliberately removed. Mike's sneakers were found about 2 meters from the body, placed neatly next to each other, as if someone had carefully taken them off and arranged them. This was completely unusual in a fall accident from height. Mysterious layer of dried grass. Under Mike's body was a layer of dried grass that had been laid out. This grass wasn't the natural type growing in the area, but seemed like someone had brought it and spread it out. Body position too convenient. The body lay on an easily accessible rock ledge, not falling to the bottom of the ravine, as should have happened if falling from a 250-meter peak. Contradictions in the investigation. On August 8th, Bernd received the first autopsy report from Malta's Mater Dei hospital. The results left him stunned and began serious doubts about the accuracy of the accident conclusion. No broken bones. The report showed Mike had no broken bones whatsoever, completely unusual and contradicting the hypothesis of falling from 250 meters high. A Maltese doctor even whispered to Bernd that Mike's injuries were incompatible with a fall. Camera contradiction. When Bernd went to Malta police station requesting his son's GoPro camera back, staff showed evasive attitudes and refused to answer directly. After many days of delays and continuous requests, they gave him a 17-year-old Canon camera, completely not Mike's equipment. When Bernd protested, police explained this was what they found at the scene, but he knew for certain his son never had this camera. Suspicious silence from locals. In the following days, Bernd went around the Dingley Cliffs and Rabat areas asking local residents about the incident. Strangely, most people showed fear when asked about Mike, refusing to answer or quickly changing the subject. Some people seemed to want to say something but kept looking around and finally shook their heads and walked away. A local farmer even told Bernd, "You should leave here as soon as possible. There are things that shouldn't be mentioned." The horrifying truth revealed in Germany. On August 17, 2016, after nearly a month of agonizing waiting, the Mansholt family finally brought Mike home. The body was transferred from Malta to Frankfurt Airport, then to Bremen on a special flight. August 20th, the day the body officially arrived at the funeral home, coincidentally was Mike's 18th birthday. A day that should have been the happiest in his life became the ultimate pain for the entire family. While preparing for the funeral director, Hermann Weber, called the Mansholt family with shocking news. I'm very sorry to say this, but Mike's body is too light. Only 16 kilograms. This is completely abnormal for a healthy 17-year-old young man. The family immediately requested a full autopsy at Hanover Medical University. The examination results revealed a terrifying truth no one could have imagined. List of missing organs, heart and entire main circulatory system. The entire brain, not a fragment remained. Both lungs, liver and pancreas. Right kidney, only left kidney remained in fragmented state. Stomach and entire small intestine, prostate and bladder, neck organs and part of endocrine system. What remained? Only the left kidney, spleen, and part of large intestine, all in severely fragmented condition. According to Hanover Medical University's report, this was one of the rarest and most mysterious cases of systematic organ loss they had encountered in 50 years of operation. Absurd explanation from Malta. When Bernd contacted Malta, authorities demanding explanation for his son losing most organs, their answer outraged not only the Mansholt family, but the entire international community. Official explanation from Malta forensic expert Mario Seri. The organs may have been eaten by mice and wild animals during the time the body lay at the scene. As for the brain, it melted due to Malta's summer heat being too hot. This explanation was immediately strongly refuted by international forensic experts. Professor Hans-Joachim Wagner, Germany's leading forensic expert. Human brains cannot melt under normal weather conditions, even at Malta's highest summer temperatures. This could only happen at temperatures above 100 degrees Celsius for extended periods. Dr. Patricia McCloskey, British forensic biology expert. Animals eating all organs clean while leaving the bone system intact and leaving no bite marks is completely impossible in nature. International organ trafficking hypothesis. With contradictory evidence piling up, the case quickly became an international scandal. German prosecutors, after thoroughly studying all evidence, put forward three main hypotheses. 1. Actual accident. Mike fell, and organs decomposed naturally. Probability. Extremely low, due to no broken bones and complete organ loss. 2. Murder for personal motives. Mike was killed due to personal conflict. Probability. Low because Mike didn't know anyone in Malta and had no enemies. 3. Victim of transnational organ trafficking network. Probability. Highest based on evidence. Details of the third hypothesis. Mike may have been kidnapped while exploring the isolated Rabat catacombs. Professional criminals performed systematic organ harvesting surgery, removing all organs valuable on the international black market. Illegal organ market, a billion-dollar industry. According to World Health Organization, WHO, reports, the illegal organ market is one of the world's most profitable businesses, with estimated revenue of $1.5 billion annually. Black market organ prices. Kidney, $150,000, $200,000. Liver, $300,000, $400,000. Heart, $500,000, $800,000. Lungs, $200,000, $300,000. Complete organs from a healthy young person. Could reach $2 million. Malta, with its strategic position between Europe and Africa, along with loose legal systems and many secret tunnels, could be an ideal transit point for this type of crime. The father's endless struggle. Bernd Mansholt, from the day he discovered the truth about his son's body condition, began a legal battle lasting nearly a decade. 2017, 2018, early phase of the battle. Bernd hired top lawyers from Germany and Malta, spending tens of thousands of euros on independent experts to reanalyze all evidence. He flew to Malta 7 times, met every possible witness, and even hired private investigators. In 2018, after international pressure, Malta's Attorney General officially declared, "Murder allegations related to Mike Mansholt's death found no reasonable basis." They officially closed the file and refused all requests to reopen investigation. 2019, 2021. Seeking international support, Bernd began contacting international journalists, participating in television programs and podcasts to tell Mike's story. The story was published in major newspapers like Die Welt, Germany, The Times, UK, and Le Figaro, France. In 2021, commemorating 5 years since Mike's death, Bernd organized an international memorial and established the Mike Mansholt Foundation to support families with missing relatives abroad. 2024. Breakthrough with European investigation order. After 8 years of struggle, Bernd achieved an important breakthrough. He succeeded in convincing German prosecutors to submit a European investigation order, EIO, to German courts. EIO is a powerful legal tool within the EU, forcing Malta to comply and reopen investigation if approved by German courts. "I won't give up until all questions are asked," Bernd declared. Impact on Malta's tourism industry. The Mike Mansholt case severely affected Malta's tourism industry, the island nation's economic pillar. International media reaction. British journalist Mark A. Carpenter, who followed the case from the beginning, commented, "If Malta chose silence to protect tourism, they failed miserably. No tourist feels safe knowing a teenager died mysteriously. His body returned home missing all organs, without any clear investigative report." Tourism statistics. According to Malta Tourism Authority, visitors from Germany, Malta's second most important market after the UK, decreased 23% during 2017-2019. Particularly, solo travelers from Germany dropped 45%. Many German travel companies issued warnings about dangerous areas in Malta in their tours, especially the Rabat and Dingley Cliffs areas. To this day, nearly 9 years since Mike Mansholt stepped on that fateful flight to Malta, the truth about his death remains an unsolved mystery with no final answer. The body of a healthy, vibrant 17-year-old teenager cannot naturally lose most vital organs within a few days. The clear contradictions in official reports, suspicious silence from Malta authorities, undisguised fear from local residents, and especially international forensic experts unanimously rejecting Malta's explanations, all point to one undeniable truth. Something extremely terrible and organized happened to Mike Mansholt. This case is not simply one family's tragedy, but also raises big and urgent questions about existence of international organ trafficking networks. Could there be a professional criminal organization operating underground in Malta and Mediterranean countries, targeting solo travelers, especially healthy young people? Role and responsibility of authorities. Why did Malta authorities show evasive reactions and give such absurd explanations? Could there be a conspiracy to hide the truth to protect tourism reputation? Tourism safety at hot destinations. How to protect young tourists with exploratory spirits who often travel alone to destinations with many remote areas. Mike Mansholt once dreamed of exploring the entire world. He had planned dozens of other trips after returning from Malta. According to his wishes, the family scattered his ashes into the ocean to continue the journey as his final wish. But will the truth about his final days ever be revealed? Today, Bernd Mansholt is 65 years old, but he still hasn't given up the fight seeking justice for his son. With support from international public opinion and human rights activists, he hopes the European investigation order will force Malta to reopen investigations seriously and transparently. Please share this story so no one forgets Mike Mansholt, the 17-year-old teenager with a bright smile, passion for exploration, and questions still awaiting answers after nearly a decade. Because only when the truth is fully exposed can justice truly be served, and other families won't have to endure the pain the Mansholt family has been bearing. Thank you for listening to the Case Files. We've gone deep together into one of the most mysterious and controversial cases of the 21st century. See you again in other mysterious cases, where truth still hides in the shadows.